The Georgia Supreme Court has declined to hear Fulton County DA Fani Willis's appeal regarding her removal from the state's election interference case against Donald Trump. The Georgia Court of Appeals ruled that Willis and her office must be removed due to her romantic relationship with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade, whom she appointed to lead the case. Of course, Trump praised the ruling as a great decision, reiterating that Willis's prosecution of him and others for attempting to overturn Georgia's 2020 election result is a rigged case from the start. Well, not true. Willis expressed her disagreement with the decision, but stated that she would transfer the case files and evidence to the Prosecuting Attorney's Council of Georgia so that a replacement prosecutor can be appointed. Even if this takes place, it seems unlikely that Trump himself can face prosecution now that he is sitting in the Oval Office. However, 14 other defendants remain charged in the case, including former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani. You know what? And I've said from day one, Larry, and I've had people hit me and upset. And I said, I'm sorry. This is Fani Willis screwed this up. OK, bottom line is she should have known. Listen, when you have a case like this, everybody is going to be paying attention. All eyes are going to be on it. And you go to your team and you say, hey, if y'all have anything in your closet, any problems, anything, let me know right now. So you're not going to be on this case. Well, she sits here and is involved with Nathan Wade. And so she screwed this up. This is on her. And so this is not about, and I heard some people, they've been trying to say, well, you know what? I think you're just being a little too hard. No, you have to know you can't screw up. And this was a major screw up. And as a result of this, it delayed. This case could have been prosecuted before the election were it not for this screw up.
Yeah, Roland, you hit it right on the nose. You have to cross your T's and dot all your I's when you're getting in bed with vipers. And if you don't, then and you have skeletons in your closet, they will get exposed. And this is because the problem is the Roland, this hasn't really become about what really is in terms of trying to steal as many votes as possible, overturn the election. This becomes about a relationship. And these conspiracy theories about people trying to bring down the current president. And that, as you highlighted, that's just not the case. And listen, I know, she's an elected official. You have to do better. We've all worked and talked to politicians and understand that, once again, if you're Black, that if you have anything that you don't want anyone to know about, and you are prosecuting a high profile figure, that information is going to come out. They're going to try to smear you because that's how things work. And so this case is DOA, Roland. We'll never hear about this case again. And you're right. If this is done a little differently, this case could have been already, went to trial and had a verdict. But once again, this is another one of the many mistakes historically, when we look back, that people have made that led to the rise of what we currently see with the current regime.
Mustafa.
I mean, Larry hit it on the head. We often say, when you know better, do better. You just got to take the L on this one. You cannot make these types of mistakes. Even if it wasn't a high profile case, you still shouldn't make these types of mistakes. You have a responsibility and a duty to the office that you hold to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So, lesson learned. Larry's right. This, will probably not be brought back up. And you just got to move forward. But I hope that, for young attorneys, folks who are in law school, who, they can review this case, that they'll learn lessons, and hopefully they will make sure that they don't make these same mistakes as they move throughout their career, because you have a responsibility to the people who put you in these offices.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I'm also paying attention to and looking at, and there are a number of stories that, of course, we're dealing with, and one of the things that jumps out at me, and we're going to deal with this whole issue of Christian nationalism in the second hour, and Black pastors speaking about Charlie Kirk from the pulpit. But one thing that really I find to be interesting here is that the doxing and the targeting of people who are critics. And you got folks who are now saying Turning Point USA is going to be suing people who have made light of it. But first of all, you can't sue someone for defamation because the law is clear, Larry. When a person's passed away, you can't defame them. But what the real issue here, though, is threatening people and trying to silence them while they're also trying to say that Charlie Kirk was about the First Amendment. And so it's really interesting as I'm seeing this, because, again, so this a couple of posts just came out about this very issue that really jumped out at me. And I was just kind of like, you're putting people's information out and telling people to call the employer. I mean, literally, Larry, yesterday, J.D. Vance even said to people, call someone's employee if you disagree with what they tweeted. That's crazy.
So, I love, as a researcher, I love looking at U.S. history. And Roland, this is modern day McCarthyism. All we see, what we see at the hearings today, some of the other hearings, the red lists, of individuals that, couldn't, not only in terms of travel outside the United States, that's a whole nother conversation, but essentially we're blacklisted from jobs, opportunities, actors, actresses, et cetera. We can go on. So the other thing that's troubling about all this is that when I mentioned McCarthyism, is we don't seem to learn from our past mistakes. We repeat them over and over again, and that's what we're seeing right now. So it's interesting enough, people talk about, certain political affiliations, that that freedom of speech is critically important, particularly when it was hate speech. Now you can't even re-quote what someone says without it being a problem. And that is not democracy, and it's not protecting the right to free speech. So either you believe in the ability for people to express themselves fairly without threatening people, or you don't. You can't have it both ways. And so when we talk about the rise of authoritarianism, limiting individuals' democratic rights, that includes, people making sure they're pressuring individuals not to say anything about anybody. And regardless if you agree, if you don't, or agree if you don't. Let's also highlight, Roland, for years that Black people have continuously watched people say racist things, and we've been told that we just kind of have to accept it. It's connected to the freedom of speech. But if we offer a simple critique, like I said, repeating someone's words, then we find ourselves in front of a firing squad, and that is not democracy.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.